Nothing lasts forever. High in the mountains, where days dissolve into mist and nights are wrapped in the whisper of pine trees, lived an old master named Kun. His cabin, built with his own hands, perched on a cliff overlooking the Simai River, which roared relentlessly below, carving the rock with the patience of centuries. The monks in the valley said the master could speak with time, that he listened to the river's murmur as one deciphers an ancient secret. Every morning at dawn, Kun would sit silently by the water, as if waiting for an answer that never came. One day, a young disciple named Rio arrived seeking wisdom. He had traveled through temples, crossed valleys, and faced his own ego, hoping to find a truth that would free him from the fear of loss, the fear of death, aging, distance, and oblivion. "Master," Rio said, bowing deeply, "tell me something that never changes, something I can hold on to when everything falls apart." Kun did not answer right away. He simply pointed to the river. "Look closely, Rio," he whispered. "Here begins your teaching." Rio watched the river closely. The waters rushed urgently, slipping over ancient stones, splashing white foam as if the wind pushed them never to stop. "What should I see, master?" Rio asked, confused. "The water flows. Is that all?" Kun nodded slightly, his gaze never leaving the riverbed. "This river you see now," he said, "is not the same one you saw moments ago. Every drop has taken its own path. Every bend has been redrawn. Nothing stays the same, not even for a moment. And yet, the river remains a river." Rio furrowed his brow. He felt the master's words held something deeper, a lesson slipping through his fingers like the water itself. "So then, is there nothing to hold on to?" the young man insisted. "Everything changes? Everything fades away." Kun closed his eyes. His lips curved into a gentle smile. "Even this conversation will disappear, like the morning dew, like you, like me." A deep silence stretched between them. The river sang its eternal song. Rio lowered his gaze. Something stirred deep within him. The idea that everything changes, that nothing lasts forever, didn't bring comfort. It brought dizziness. He remembered his mother's face, now gone. He recalled the smile of a friend who had left without farewell. He saw his reflection in the lakes of his childhood, so different from the one he saw now. "If nothing is eternal," he said, his voice breaking, "then what's the point of loving, caring, building?" Kun picked up a fallen leaf and held it gently in the air. It was golden and fragile, kissed by the autumn winds. Precisely because of that, Rio, because nothing lasts forever, every moment is sacred. Because everything passes, everything matters. The master let the wind carry the leaf away. He made no attempt to stop it. Love is beautiful because it doesn't last. The flower moves us because it wilts. The fire warms because it fades. Eternity, if it existed in this form, would be forgetfulness. But the ephemeral awakens. Rio felt something open inside him. Not a certainty, but a wordless understanding. As if the river, for a moment, flowed also within his chest. The sun began to rise over the mountains, painting the waters of the Simai River in gold. Rio sat quietly, as if time itself had paused just so he could hear the world's gentle murmur. "Master," he finally spoke, "how can I live without the fear of losing?" Kun picked up a small clay cup resting beside him. With care, he filled it with river water and offered it to Rio. "Hold this cup," he said, "as if it were the most precious thing in your life, but knowing that one day it will fall and break." Rio accepted the cup gently, his fingers trembling slightly. "What if it breaks today?" he asked. "Then you will have loved fully while it was with you," the master replied. Do not live clinging to what flows. Live as one who bids farewell to everything with gratitude. The words sank deep. For the first time, the young man felt that loss was not a punishment, but a natural part of love. That everything that begins must end, and in that ending, there is beauty too. The cup trembled a little in his hands, but he no longer feared it. That night, Rio chose not to sleep inside the temple, but beneath the open sky, at the edge of the cliff. The river's murmur sounded different to him now, as if its waters spoke in an ancient language, older than fear and desire. He gazed at the stars and thought, they too are dying, even as we see them shine. Yet their light continued its journey, touching the earth with a tenderness that spanned centuries. The next morning, he found the master gently sweeping leaves along the path. Doesn't it tire you, cleaning what will only get dirty again? Rio asked, a faint smile on his lips. Kun looked at him, his eyes sparkling like water under the sun. Isn't it worth breathing, even though each breath lasts only a moment? The disciple bowed his head and laughed. A clear, light laughter of someone who had released a burden. The master joined him, and for a moment, the whole forest seemed to laugh too, as if it understood. Everything changes. Everything is lost. But precisely for that reason, everything can be loved. As the days passed, Rio asked fewer questions. His steps grew slower, his gestures more mindful. He began helping the village elders, repairing what broke without sorrow, and listening to others' stories without interrupting. One morning, while drawing water from the river, he saw his own reflection ripple in the waves. For a moment, his face blurred, merging with the current, and he understood something wordless. He too was part of the river. Not separate, not apart, but made of the same flow, the same impermanence. That afternoon, he approached the master with a wildflower in hand. He offered it without a word. Kun accepted it with a slight bow, as if receiving a sacred message. "Why do you give this to me?" he asked. Rio smiled. "Because tomorrow it won't be here." The master nodded, pleased. "Then you have begun to see." The seasons passed. The green leaves turned red, then gold, and finally fell one by one. Snow covered the mountain, and with it silence grew deeper. One cold morning, Kun did not leave his cabin. Rio waited. He prepared tea, swept the path, watched the river. As evening fell, he entered and found the master sitting by the window, eyes closed, wearing a peaceful smile. His breath was no longer there. He had gone like a falling leaf, like the last snowflake that kisses the earth and melts into it. Rio did not cry. He knelt and stayed silent for a long while. Then he lit a lamp and placed beside the master the dried flower he had kept since autumn. "Thank you for showing me that nothing is eternal," he whispered, "and for teaching me that because of this, everything is sacred." The wind gently slipped through the window. The river continued its journey. Years later, other seekers began arriving at the mountain. Young souls with deep questions, restless hearts, fears much like Rio's. And there, beside the Simai River, now lived a new master. He was serene, with clear eyes and humble steps. His name was remembered by few, but everyone simply called him Rio. Each morning, he would sit by the water just as his master had. And when someone asked about the meaning of life, about loss, about change, he always answered the same way. "Look at the river. Listen to it." The disciples learned not to hold on, to let go with gratitude, to love without attachment, to live knowing that everything passes. And because of that, every moment can be eternal in its fleetingness. And so, like the river that never stops, the teaching continued to flow, without name, without shape, without end. Nothing is eternal, and that was enough.